And as we experience through the sensory system, we get a certain degree of connection and fulfillment. But the question here on this path is the fulfillment enough? So the idea is to look at it, and when we get to a realization that no matter how many things I've done in my life that have given me fulfillment, the fulfillment doesn't seem to be everlasting. The joy, the happiness, the fun, the love, I have to keep doing more things in my life to kind of bring it back, to activate it, to tap into it. It's not consistent. I don't experience it 24 hours a day. None of us want to suffer. We want to feel happy. We want to feel complete. We want to feel fulfilled. We would love to feel joy throughout everything that we do, rather than feel stress through everything that we do. We'd love to feel love in every aspect of our life. And we don't want to experience, obviously, the opposite, When somebody looks at the way in which they have been seeking, running through the course of, we call Maya, illusion, looking for happiness through, what is pleasurable, and trying to do our best to avoid that which is painful, that has this kind of hamster on a wheel effect. You have to keep making an offering. You have to throw back your effort into the wheel to get it to move, to get you to the next point, to get you to the next group of friends, to get you to the next situation, to get you to the next house, to get you to the next thing. This is not considered something to feel bad or guilty about. This is what we all feel. So we can look at it, respect it, honor it, and embrace it. And sensations in life, they don't stop. We don't need to feel guilty about sensations happening. And the sensations that come in will feel pleasurable sometimes and painful other times, inducing suffering. And that's just what it is. When we cannot accept something that is inevitable, we experience deep amounts of suffering. If we can change it, we can. But if you can't, you're kind of forced universally into a corner to accept. You just have to be okay with where you've got put, because there's nothing you can do to fix it. So then the idea is do what you can within your power to make the life that you want to have, but at the same time, which means setting lovely intentions for your wish list, but being very careful in sculpting it in such a way where it's not coming from a place of delusion, like, once I have this, then I'll be happy. Once this happens for me, then I'll be happy. If I, do everything in my life right and I get to the edge of my life, the last 10 years, then I can retire and then I'll be happy. Even if we say, well, we're happy people through, why would we reserve all the happiness for the last 10 years, the last 5 years? What if you make it to the last 10 years, you die 2 months after? So you don't really know the intention that you're setting. They can be a lovely intention, but if you really examine an intention, you have to look for the side that's more in the area that we would call delusion. This isn't to prevent us from setting intentions or for having good goals in our life. We should have good goals in our life. But this idea that happiness comes somewhere in the future, or only if a change is made, an external change, or only if I get something else added to my life or taken away from my life. Let's say we have a stress in our life. Could be a person, could be a place, could be a thing, could be a job, whatever it may be. Could be the idea that you're just on this planet, whatever it might be. If you have this idea that you're going to be suffering in your current situation, then you have just sealed it for yourself, saying that I will suffer and I cannot be fully happy until sometime later, once the stress is gone, once the person is gone from my life, once the job is gone from my life, whatever the situation is. We do want to set intentions that are nice and pushing us in the right direction, desires that are positive and supportive and fulfilling. You're allowed to enjoy through your senses. You don't have to feel something that feels pleasurable and then shut it out and be like, oh, I'm not supposed to be experiencing this. It feels too good. I need to experience what then? Suffering and pain until enlightenment? Like, that's not the way either. You're allowed to enjoy your life, but the idea is just understanding the delusion inside the way that you're doing things, inside what your intentions are. It can take a while to get a good understanding of the way that you set intentions and how it might not be the best for you. Might not be the healthiest. That's why at the end of all prayers, you're supposed to say whatever your wish list has been, but God, or whatever you want to call God, do what is best for me. Because we're acknowledging we don't really know. At least have that part in your heart, in your mind. God, do what is best for me. So once you've realized that, look, I've lived for how long and I've had how many experiences, and I've had fun and enjoyed things, but the level of happiness or fulfillment in my life is not where I want it to be. Either A, you're going to throw yourself back into the world of Bhogavasana and see what else you need to add to your life or take away from your life to make you happy, or B, you're going to switch the way that you're looking at life, alter your personal perspective. If you feel like alone, you might feel like the answer is to find a person so that you don't feel alone. That's a pretty standard wish that people have. And there's nothing wrong with that. You would never say you're such an evil person for wanting a friend, right? There's nothing wrong with this. It's actually quite lovely and a sweet thing. There's nothing wrong with wanting a friend, nothing wrong with wanting a partner, nothing wrong with wanting a puppy dog or a kitty cat or whatever it is in your life that you find to be fulfilling, or wanting a child or having a child. There's nothing wrong with that. It's beautiful. But the idea is to go through life and to try to understand in a deeper way, what is it that I am really seeking? Moksha would have a different way of seeking than Bhogavasana. The two ways of seeking. Moksha really means liberation or freedom, but so I'm talking about it as a direction of a path. Technically, if you're on the direction of the path and you have not reached liberation or moksha or enlightenment yet, where you realize all of this is yourself, this is your infinite dream nature, you are the cosmic supermind, of which the body that you feel right now is just one of the many of your thoughts that we call human beings and animals and bugs and plants. And it's quite a different experience when you start to think about it. You're not just trying to be a human setting a better intention for your life. You're trying to grow or realize yourself to be, or reveal that experience at the depths of your being, that you are the cosmos itself. We all are. No one's higher or lower. We're all of the same stuff. We're all equally important on a personal level and on a cosmic level. A way to have an understanding. So the two ways that somebody would go about fixing loneliness. The Bhogavasana person says, I'm lonely. Clearly, I need a partner. Clearly, I need a friend. Clearly, I should go buy a puppy dog. Clearly, we think of something to do. That's the way we fix loneliness in Bhogavasana world. And again, there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, because once you find a partner, you might realize, that there's a lot that you can learn from them. They see things different. They know things different. They are different, which gives you a nice perspective shift to the way that you normally are rooted in and cannot see through. So other people can be wonderful ways out of ourself to learn about life, to learn about ourself, and to learn about the mysteries of the cosmos, in whatever way that is, depending on how open we are. A person who is moksha bound, when they say, I am lonely, they don't say, I should fix it by finding a partner or a puppy dog or a kitty cat to fill the void. A person who wants moksha, to fix that loneliness, looks for the Satguru that will help them out. And they also have different ways of thinking. They look at the whole thing of life. The idea is, what do you depend on to fulfill you? So we can start by simple practical things, by looking at ourselves as like a part, at least, a part of the whole. To fast forward and say, okay, there's only one reality, only one being, seems quite complicated, especially with the amount of rigidness our mind and our personality has created over all these years. We've done a wonderful job kind of parceling ourselves out of the cosmos. So we feel like we are our own independent beingness or entity that is separate and kind of in many ways opposite from things. As if the elements, for instance, bear little to no consequence of us, our own personal life. But the question is, what created the mind? Are you just your mind, or does your mind disturb you or make you happy? Can your mind be aligned and focused or unfocused. So are you your mind, or is your mind something that you hold, something that you use? So we have, on this path, it's more about understanding what you are at the end of the day. Are you your body? If so, then if you lose your limbs and you get disfigured, you're going to feel that you are less than what you were because you're associating yourself with your body. If you don't, then whatever the body looks like, you feel just as valuable as you did before. Ask yourself again, am I what I feel? Just feel all that you feel. Am I this, which this would be these feelings, or am I the one feeling these feelings? So what am I? That's the great question of a yogic path. It's not trying to fill you with stories and make you believe something. It's just asking those important questions that you know within you. It just kind of rings true. So this whole path, this yogic path, is based off of bhogavasana, which is what we desire through our sensory system. You see something, you want it. You hear something, you want it. You hear something, you don't want it. You see something, you don't want it. When you're adjusting it and going to the path of moksha or liberation, you're not switching that and now seeking pain and bypassing pleasure. You're not seeking pain. You're not trying to hit a self-destruct button to the body. You're trying to still love it and take care of it, and pleasure is fine, but pain will come. You're just trying to dislodge the delusion that pain won't come or shouldn't come. So moksha is a different way, where it's really representing the ultimate, but in a way I'm talking about, it's a different way of looking to resolve situations. So at this stage of one's life, when you're in an event like this, an anustan, you're really trying to consider, what do I want? That's why many times with retreats and satsang and anustans, I would start it by saying, what do you want? Why are you here? What are you really looking for? You might say, I want $1 million. Okay, fine, here's $1 million. Now once you spend it, what do you want now? I want another $1 million. Well, this time I want 2. You're an empty pit. You can't be fulfilled. But something's not working. They're not happy. Something's wrong. This is what you need to catch in yourself. Something's wrong with the way that I'm seeking happiness. I thought it was going to come through money or all the things money would buy me, but it's not working. Happiness in the spiritual path, we're talking about 24 hours a day, consistent happiness, contentment, a blissfulness, a goodness that's always there, a light that's always there. You can go into the most negative situations and the light is always there. Darkness can be everywhere for everyone and the light is still there for you. If this is not your baseline experience, it means you're not living your life as you could be. When you experience life like that, it means you're tapped into your spirit, your soul. So we have to ask ourselves again, why am I here? What do I want? Not just in this event, anustan, but in life. Why has this incarnation happened? Why has this soul kind of animated this body, energized this mind for seeking? What am I really seeking for? We're setting intentions, right? This is why we're talking about this. These intentions are for what you want. But if we don't properly look and examine at what you want, then we're going to set intentions without fully considering what it is we're really wanting. So that is what we're really trying to consider. Yes, we're going to be setting some intentions for what we want in this new year. And we're going to be, choosing to release the karmas of the past year and anything before that's willing and capable of going, to clean up our karmas, or, to kind of wash ourselves clean from things that were not aligned or resonant with the goal that we actually want. But if you don't know the goal that you want, imagine how weak the intentions will be, because you're still wanting to release the negative energies that took you the wrong way while forging new wishes that continue to take you the wrong way. In terms of your spiritual well-being, it's not about what you get, it's about what you are experiencing, the truth or the life, the reality to be. So the easiest way to always look at your spiritual kind of litmus test is, am I happy and feeling joy around me and in me? Both has to be, in me and around me, just the same all the time. Do I feel that everything is light, bright, airy, kind of just perfectly attuned and connected around me and in me just the same. The other one is easier. Do I feel joy, lightness, happiness in me and around me just the same? It doesn't mean that other people are feeling it. It's not about what they feel. It's about what you feel. The soul always has a message. It's okay. If you think about in religions and in sermons and things, what are they always trying to remind you? It's okay. It's a part of the divine plan. They're trying to get you to feel okay. The first step of trying to have a minor connection with your own self as the soul, which is not as the personality and not as the body and not as this life arrangement that you have going for you, is trying to see that things are actually okay. You have to look at the bigger picture. Think about any time you go to hear some sermon or some Dharma talk, they're always trying to tell you it's okay. There's a bigger plan. Step into the divine plan. Know the divine plan. Step into it. And then you'll feel attuned and connected. If you don't and you try to live out your little plans without really understanding the larger plan, the divine plan, then you're going to feel kind of stranded, alienated, disconnected, lonely, frustrated, fearful, wanting something in your life that you feel won't happen. You're so based off of what the world can give you. You're not thinking what you internally can give you. You have the ability to open your eyes. So the spiritual path is about learning how to open your inner, so to speak, in quotes, inner eye. How can I see the light in and around me just the same? The light of the divine, the light of the soul, the light of myself. How can I see this? That's why in pretty much all traditions they always use candles or fire, or it's all pointing to the light. If you can't see something, light a candle. So we want to light that spiritual awareness within ourselves. That's your candle, so that you can see more clearly into your present moment, your situation, and your future. You can have a better understanding. This isn't about how to, therefore, from that point, manipulate your future to be exactly what you want, but it's about getting into a very deep sense of understanding that, life's probably going to go in a lot of different ways. Some ways that I want it to go, and some ways that I don't. Now, who am I in these experiences? How will I be tested? Can I get through the tests? And that's very important, because that's what we call sadhana, which is spiritual application. So anyway, that's the whole question in the yogic tradition, is analyzing and trying to get to terms with what you want. So bhogavasana, I want what I see, I want what I hear, I want what I feel, I want, you want the good things, the pleasurable things that you can access through your sensory system, including your mind. And moksha is about first reorienting the mind to a larger perspective and realizing that when you make a more unitive, idea, it feels better. So first thing is understanding how you perceive things with your own mind. That's kind of like the middle, of the senses and moksha. And guess what the path is? About 99.9%, that middle ground. So that's why we try to learn how to refocus the mind. And in examining what it is that you want and whether or not that's going to lead you to the road or path of freedom, or just get you stuck on the hamster wheel of life, is very important. You're not in some religion. This is looking at just how we view things as an individual and what it does to us. You're not in some religious thing. Yoga is about calming the mind, and as you get it calmer and positively orienting it and looking at the bigger picture, so that things fall into place naturally, as we participate in our life. It's not about forcing and cajoling and manipulating, and that doesn't sound like the right life, right? So obviously that's not a part of the yogic path. So you just want to understand that, yes, we're setting intentions, and these are typically going to be desire-laden intentions, but really think clearly about what are these intentions that you want to set for the new year for yourself. Everyone says, things like, I want to go to the gym, I want to be healthier, I want to do this, I want to succeed, I want to get a new job, I want to fix this part with my relationship, or rather I'd want to get a new relationship. It's like everyone says this stuff. But a spiritual person is different, because we consider the depth of what we're asking for and whether or not it actually makes any sense. Sometimes people say, no, this is your life, make it what you want, do what you want to be happy. What if I fulfill myself through my senses all the time? I'm only reinforcing I'm weaker and the objects around me. Only they can provide happiness to me. I cannot be happy without the food that I like. Therefore, what do? When I get presented with food I don't like, I throw a temper tantrum. This is what people do. It's just that we get really good at staying in just the little pleasure zones of our life so we don't look like we're losing our self-control. You're attaching yourself to cans and can'ts. When you can, you're happy. When you can't, you're really going to get frustrated. That's what bends people out of shape. So this other spiritual being looks at, why do I care what a bunch of people have to say about life? I'm finding out what life is within. In this, you can fix the things in your life that you need to fix to make them more healthy and supportive to your inner quest. And outer things being resolved helps with the inner quest. Because you've chosen to live a dual life. You've chosen to live one that is very much in this world, and it's also you're trying to be a spiritual seeker. And hopefully through all of this you've been thinking about life, what it is that you really want. Do you want happiness through the sensory system, which is not a problem? Or would you like happiness with or without senses? It's not a requirement to sense happiness through the objects. You're allowed to be happy first, then you'll live your life. This nonsense of I won't be happy until, I get a raise. I won't be happy until I get a relationship. I won't be happy until I finish this or finish that or get my life to where I want it to be. You don't need to be like that. You can be happy now. Consider that. Just ask yourself, what is the dependency that you have through your sensory system to find your happiness? What is the dependency? Because if you do become happy because somebody gives you $1 million, that means that the $1 million is more powerful than you. Because you did not have the capacity or the power to be as happy without the $1 million. Your happiness must come first. Everything else has to come second. This doesn't mean be self-indulged through the senses. We just talked about this. When I say your happiness must come first, I don't mean become self-centered. Some people actually do that, which is out there, where people say, no, love yourself and take care of yourself first. You should be first in your life. But it's more about living your life for others makes your life worth living. You feel that it's bigger, it's got a purpose. When you live your life for yourself, it feels so small. It feels so insignificant. Because it's all about you. It's not about anything else. So your walls keep caving in. Life becomes tighter. Things become uncomfortable. And when it's all about you. When it's all about other people, your life opens up. It's all about loving others, helping others, taking care of others, being present with others, being a part of the world, rather than being a part of you, just you. So we have to expand in a bigger way, get to know all those different parts of the cosmos, ultimately all parts of ourself. So if you want enlightenment, then you don't get it just by, being lazy or doing nothing or not trying. It doesn't. The upper level of human spiritual development does not happen because you chose to be lazy. You find time to do the practices or to do what is necessary to help you align with your higher side of the goal. You find the time to do it. If you don't find the time won't happen. If you're waiting for a miracle that your life and your schedule will clear up so that you'll find the time, that time pretty much never comes. But if you make the time, then every day you have time. You'll find the time. It's easy to do. Imagine if you could elevate your own happiness from within to a level that far exceeds having endless money, far exceeds having only positive attention from all people, and having all the relationships you want, and having the car you want, and everything that you could think of. Imagine if you could have a happiness that is building within you, that far exceeds the promise of happiness that the senses give you day in and day out. Senses always will promise you happiness. They'll always promise you fulfillment, but can they provide it? If they can't provide it, how do I provide it for myself? How do I tap in to to that inner wellspring of joy that all the saints speak of. You're not trying to find a happiness outside of yourself. You're trying to find it within yourself. So just spend some time thinking about the way that you live, what you do to make yourself happy, what seems supportive to your spiritual quest, what does not seem supportive, what seems more true of a happiness, what seems more artificial of a happiness. And then think about your past year, kind of what has worked, what hasn't worked. What is getting you aligned with your ultimate happiness and fulfillment? Infinite, non-wavering, immutable, all-powerful strength of happiness, joy, fulfillment. What have we done that has been helpful in going that direction, and what has been, kind of an impediment to that? Think about things that are supportive to this aspirational journey, not things that are just different. Like, I want a new car. Like, that would be a completely different, it just seems so off the course, doesn't it? So if you have wishes that take you off course, then it kind of breaks you from finding inner fulfillment. Cars are needed, got to drive somewhere, but that's fine. But it's like, have an understanding of why you have the materials in your life, why you were born, is to seek something greater, to seek the eternal. It's not just to live and die and have fun with the senses and then you go kaput, So think deeper, think wider, think broader, think more, for yourself. And think more of yourself. That's essentially what this does. And think more of each other.